Yeah, Kenny Wooten, man. I know everyone's anxious to see him. Um, I don't want everybody to feel what I don't want people to do is expect him to come in and be a lightning rod right away. You know what I'm saying? Because offensively, he is not really gifted offensively right now. You know, I mean, he's basically going to, he'll be catching oops to the basket and some of those things. And you'll see probably some electrifying blocks, but he's still got a lot of his game to work on. He's 21. So, he's 21. He's got a lot of his game to work on. So I don't want people to come in expecting that he's just going to be, all of a sudden just start killing and put his name in Rookie of the Year conversations or something.
Yeah. Well, Sam, the thing about it is the one thing I want to see from Wooten, not so much his offensive game, but just his defense. I mean, you gotta admit, you put him and Mitchell Robinson on the front line, that is going to be a monster cover for anybody to try and get their hoop off, because not only you have to go through him, but you have to go through Mitchell Robinson as well. And that's what I'm more envisioning. I envision them getting the blocks, getting the rebounds, and then outletting it to whichever point guard we have, and then them getting the either getting the dunk or getting a shot, gets just a better shot. So I'm just looking for them to really bring it on the defensive end. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And I also want Kenny Wooten to learn from, if these guys, they need to start watching some of the older heads, right? When you're athletic like that, 6'8", and you made your game is raw, right? One guy Kenny Wooten should watch, and I'm not saying he'll ever be this, but Dennis Rodman, right? So Dennis Rodman didn't just make his name off of like just really good defense per se, and it's in isolation. But Dennis Rodman was a magician in terms of timing the rebounds, right? Which is extremely important. When you take those long shots, when you take those foul shots, Dennis Rodman had a great knack for knowing when those balls are, and that takes an immense focus. Now, people can talk about, he didn't score. Go back to the 96 finals, if anybody doesn't believe me, because I remember, I think Pippen had back issues, and Jordan was not efficient. Because remember, Jordan was coming back from baseball. He came back a little bigger. Even though I think it was 2 years removed from it, right? So when they play Super Bowl, if you want to go back, go watch those films in terms of the defense and the rebounding, timing, positioning. Dennis Rodman probably should have won the series MVP. People are going to kill me for that, but you go back and watch it, you won't be able to argue with me. So Kenny Wooten, to me, I think he should come in and just focus on what he's been doing well, and then try to find, all right, if I'm in the game, I know I may have Randall, I may have a bunch of guys, and maybe Mitch, because one thing that happens with Mitch a lot, Sim, is that when Mitch is down low, he doesn't get a lot of help in terms of there'll be 2-3 guys boxing him out, and maybe the ball comes out, but there's no one around him because everybody's they're either just standing at the three-point line or trying to or running back to defense, not really helping out. I want to see it where Kenny Wooten's that type of energy guy where he's gobbling up rebounds and you're getting even more offensive possessions, or even on the defensive end, we're not letting teams get second-round chance rebounds or possessions, because Kenny Wooten is there. That's what I want to see from these kids, man. You don't have to come in with threes and that stuff. Do what you do best and have focus and concentration, because our team is a very low IQ team, man. We don't have a lot of focus and concentration, Sim. Sorry.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what you were saying, Gilmore, about Mitchell Robinson. He was, before the road trip, the West Coast road trip, he was on like an all-time high, as far as his confidence. I believe that the Clipper game and the Laker game really had him shook, because in the Clipper game, you saw Montrezl. I can never say his name.
Montrezl Harrell.
Yes. He destroyed him. I mean, he literally destroyed him. So you go from that game to the Laker game, where you have JaVale McGee, and no matter what you say about JaVale McGee, he's still a pro. You have him, you have Dwight Howard, and then you throw in the unibrow. All those guys right there, they're sound defensively minded. And I think Mitch just really got shook. And I think that shook his confidence. And I think that's why you're probably seeing, and then the icing on the cake was Gobert from Utah. So he had to go up against 4 of those top centers. I think it shook his confidence a little bit. And I think that's why you're probably seeing his subpar play because his confidence is just at an all-time low right now. That's my opinion. What do y'all guys think?
When you look at Kenny Wooten, right, in the little interview I watched, I think Sim, it was in the one of the episodes that Sim, like that little partial interview or whatever. And this is why it's going to be important once the veterans get traded or this becomes, all right, let's see what the young kids could do, because Kenny Wooten, to me, Mitchell Robinson is still, I think he's still, relatively shy. Even though he's coming out of his shell a lot, it's going to take some time. Kenny Wooten, when he talks, he plays with a little confidence. And I think that when you put a guy in G League, right, it's kind of like they play with that chip on their shoulder where it's like, oh, y'all didn't believe in me. Not the Knicks. I'm just saying, like, the league didn't believe in me.
Right.
And now I work my way up to the point you had the Warriors and all these guys looking at me. And so when I get up here, right, if I'm not one of these bitter guys, if I'm not like a Portis guy where I only play good against former teams that trades me, if he comes up here, I feel like he has that attitude where, like I said, he's not going to be coming in trying to hobble up and gobble the ball. He's the type of guy, it seems, that he prides himself on running after the ball. Those dirty plays where it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that because I don't want to, get hurt or expound or spend any energy, whatever. He has to come in as an energy guy. And I think that he has that. He talks with a confidence. He talks with a mentality of like, I'm gonna come here, work hard, concentrate, focus. And so that's what the Knicks need. Like you said, and many times with this team, when we're down, even some of the simpler things, Mitchell Robinson, when you talk about boxing out, look at the Clippers game, look at the Jazz game. There were times when mentally he's just looking at the ball, and then all of a sudden Montrezl Harrell is boxing him out down low, and it's like, bro, you should have your first thought should have been create the space and leverage. And when that ball goes up, at the very least, if it's going to go to another team, it's going to be because of a long rebound I just couldn't get. You know what I mean? So I see Kenny Wooten coming in. I like his mindset. I like his attitude. And I think that him playing with guys like RJ, playing guys like Mitch, playing with these younger guys where they can kind of create their own identity outside of Morris, outside of even Randall, who's still going to be here, because it's going to be more of the youth movement. I think it's going to be beneficial for the team because this team, again, what we should have been doing last year, creating identity and culture. We got to do it now. We got to start now. But I like Mike Miller being at the helm of that, even if it's for half.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. All right. Minnesota traded. What's his name? Can't even think of his name now.
Jeff Teague.
Jeff Teague, right? They traded Jeff Teague to Atlanta Hawks over the past week. And they're going after D'Angelo Russell. But then, of course, it comes out yesterday, or I read it someplace yesterday, that if they can't get D'Angelo Russell, they're going to focus their energy, their time on Dennis Smith Jr. Right? So if you're the Knicks,
let's go. Let's go. Salute to the Timberwolves, man. That's my new favorite team, bro. Yo, bro. Yeah. I think D'Lo sucks. He's garbage. He should be in the G League. DSJ is what you guys need, man. DSJ is one of the best point guards. For some reasons, it's not working out for the Knicks. But he's one of the best point guards in the league. So whatever you want, you could give us peanut chews, Boston baked beans, a Snickers, whatever you guys want. We'll send you the DSJ tomorrow, man. Don't worry.
Hey, Gilmore, you say that tongue in cheek, of course, right?
I mean, look, hey, look. I don't know this guy, Kevin. Kevin's trying. Look, I think DSJ is great, man. Don't listen to Kevin. I'm not doing Let's make it happen, man. Because I don't know, Sam, man. I don't think it's gonna happen because they're just better options. I mean, you're talking about, relatively speaking, right? You're talking about D'Lo and then DSJ. I just don't see. And a guy who's not healthy, they would just wait till he's cut because DSJ ain't gonna get these guys into the playoffs this year.
If Minnesota really wants him, what do you think the Knicks can get for him?
Nothing. What? Nothing. Why would I say? Why would I what would I get for him? I can't get because he's hurt. He's not. He's proving now. If you're talking about saying the Mavericks trading for him, like the Mavericks, the year that he came to the Knicks, you could fool them by saying, "All right, he didn't get the proper play, whatever. Luka didn't want him, whatever." That's one thing, right? You could fool them, but they've seen DSJ, Sim, and he doesn't have athleticism anymore.
So why do they want him?
So you're not getting nothing for him. You're not.
So why do they want him?
I think it also might be blinders out there. It might be, and I'm not saying E. Bagley is lying at all. It could be misdirection, right? So we have no idea, but I just can't see why the hell would Look, David Connor's not there anymore, right? That idiot who drafted John McClin and Rubio, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't have any comical GMs really roaming around the streets like that where they'll make that asinine of a decision. Now, if they do that, the Knicks better pray to the God, like, hey, thank God that this happened. We were able to fool these guys, because I wouldn't trade a second rounder for him.
Well,
I just wouldn't.
But see, what I'm thinking is that kind of like Markelle Fultz, right, with Orlando. Maybe they feel like they can buy low, and
No.
if he because look.
Yeah, that's the fear. That you're totally right, Sam. You're totally right about that. You hope that DSJ doesn't turn in to like what a Markelle Fultz is. I mean, that is the fear. I mean, my whole thing with DSJ,
big difference. Sorry to cut you off, bro. Markelle Fultz allegedly, right, had a motorcycle accident that caused nerve damage in the back of his body, right, or like the alignment or whatever, right? So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
And they kept it under wraps. That's why there was that whole fuzzy stuff with his agent. But Markelle Fultz, even before that, when he was at Washington, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of him, you saw he had point guard potential and talent, right? So that was always there. DSJ is mental. He's just, so it's not even buy low, whatever. You buy, unless DSJ goes to like the Montessori school for basketball and comes back like a new player, you sell him low, whatever, you're fine. Okay. That risk ain't happening. Trust.
But look,
okay.
Like many teams in the NBA, Dennis Smith Jr. makes $4.4 million this year. He's on the books for 5.6 next year, right? Then
he better invest.
But then it's up, Minnesota, if they want to trade for him, right? They pay 4.4, 5.6. If it's not working out, you say, we're not going to make a qualifying offer. You can be an unrestricted free agent.
So how much if he gets if he say the Knicks, so he'll be a free agent after this year, right?
If the Knicks
the Knicks extended him
because we extended it.
Right, the Knicks extended his contract. They picked it up in October, so it's extended until 2021, and at the end of this 2021 season, the Knicks need to decide whether or not they're going to make a qualifying offer, or any other team that has them.